Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and today I'm going to be doing the leap year book tag. So I was recently tagged by Krista from Books and Jams to do this tag. This is a tag that was originally created by Melted Books and Amy Myers, I believe. I will leave the original videos linked in the description box down below, as well as Krista's channel linked down below. But it is just a tag that was created that centers around this being a leap year. So let's get into the questions. So the first question is extra day. What is one book that brought something a little extra? And for this, I'm going to say Hey Kiddo by Jared J. Krzyzewska. This is a book that I recently read this past month that it's a graphic novel, but it won the Odyssey Award for the best audiobook in children's and youth literature this past year. And I listened to it while I was looking at the audiobook, and I listened to it while I was reading the graphic novel, and it was fantastic. And then at the end, it kind of explained a little bit about the audiobook and what made it special. And not only was it told in a very podcast or radio show style performance, you had a lot of background noises and music and a full cast of characters. But in addition to that, Jarrett J. Krzyzewska, he used a lot of his family members portrayed themselves in the audiobook, so the actual family members were voicing themselves. In addition to that, him and his best friend, their kids voiced the children of themselves. So Jarrett as a child, his son voiced himself, Jarrett as a child, and his best friend's son voiced his best friend as a child. And it was just such a cool experience. Once I knew that at the end, that's how he kind of went about casting all the characters, it was really neat. And in addition to that, the graphic novel is spectacular. He explains how each, the color palette had a special meaning to him, and each of the chapter title pages had a special meaning to him and what it meant and all that. It was just a really awesome reading experience, being able to listen to it and read the graphic novel at the same time, as well as knowing those little tidbits of just a little extra that went into it. And it was definitely an award well deserved, and I'm so glad that I took the time to read it. But definitely check that one out if you haven't. So that is my answer for a book that gave a little bit of extra or brought a little extra. The second question is taking a big leap. What is a book that you were either afraid to read or are afraid or scared to read? And for this, I am going to say Pride and Prejudice. I haven't read it yet. It's on my 2020 TBR, but I'm terrified to read this because I don't really read classics, and I feel like this is one that everybody has read and everybody loves. And I just don't know if I'm going to be able to appreciate it the way that everybody else does, because I don't connect with classics the same way a lot of other people do. And yeah, so I'm just really hesitant to get to it, and I just don't know. I've been putting it off for that exact reason. So anyway, that's my answer for that question. Question number 3 is every 4 years, and it wants you to name the 4th book that you read this year. And the 4th book that I read this year was American Royals by Catherine McGee. And this is an alternate universe kind of thing where the United States is a monarchy instead of a democracy. And so we have a royal family, and it's following the royal family. And it was very interesting. I compare it to a mismatch of The Selection and The Royal We, combined together. And I really I listened to it, so I enjoyed listening to it. I think the sequel comes out later this year, and I will be picking it up because it was just a nice, fun read when I needed something like that. It's YA, just something simple. But yeah, so that was the 4th book that I read this year. Question number 4 is 366 days in the year, and it wants you to go to your bookshelf and on the 3rd shelf name the 6th book in, and then count another 6 books and name that book. And so I will insert a clip here from me going to another bookshelf in my house and showing you the books that are on that shelf. So here's my bookshelf. Starting up here would be shelf 1, and then shelf 2, and so down here would be shelf 3. And if we're looking at the 6th book, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th would be Fever 1793. These are all my middle grade books. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would be The Great Gilly Hopkins. So yeah, 2 middle grade books that I love that, yeah, you should definitely check them out because I've read them both. And then question number 5 is leaping ahead 4 years, and it wants you to name 4 books that you would like to read by the time the next leap year comes around in 4 years. So 4 books that I would like to have read within the next 4 years. The first one is a little odd for me, and that's Little Women. I DNF'd this past year, and then I picked it up again in January because I wanted to go see the movie with a group of friends, and I ended up not finishing it again. I made it a little bit further though, and I just want to keep trying to make progress in this. I have a feeling that once I sit down and I devote the time to it that it deserves, I will probably really enjoy it. But for now, I just haven't been able to commit to it. And I think that by the time 4 years from now, I'm hoping that I will eventually make my way all the way through this. Another one that I would like to read in the next 4 years is Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, and really just books by C.S. Lewis other than the Chronicles of Narnia. I've read the first 3 in the Chronicles of Narnia, so probably finish out that series as well. But Mere Christianity especially is one that I have been really interested in reading and just never have. So that's one. Another classic I would like to read that's on my 2020 TBR, and I really want to get this done, so hopefully in the next 4 years it will get done for sure, and that's To Kill a Mockingbird. I just have never read this, and I need to because I know I would really like this. So that's another one. And then the last one is actually, I decided to put on here the oldest book on my TBR on Goodreads, and that is called The Other Woman by Jane Green. And this is about a woman who's getting married, and her mother-in-law is just kind of taking over the wedding and commandeering everything, and it's about her relationship with her mother-in-law. So those are the 4 books that I would like to read by the time the next leap year rolls around. Question number 6 is Leapfrog. Name a book on your TBR that has a lot of green on it. And I'm just realizing now that this says TBR and not on your shelf. So let me try again. All right, here's one. So I have on my TBR, I have The Lake House by Kate Morton. And this has a ton of green on it. And this is historical fiction. And yeah, that's all I really know right now. So there's that one. And then question number 7 is Bad Luck. What are some bookish things that you tend to steer clear from? And for me, I went kind of the route of things in books that I don't really like to read about. One is horror. I don't like watching scary movies. I don't like being scared. I really don't like gruesome things. And so horror is just something I'm not interested in at all. Another genre that I'm really not interested in is high fantasy, like Game of Thrones and that sort of thing. I just don't get into that. My husband loves it. It's just not for me. It's too much thinking for my mommy mush brain. And then a couple of other things in books that I don't really like to read are explicit sex scenes. I find them just not enjoyable. And then also a lot of foul language. If a book has a lot of unnecessary foul language, I will typically put it down and not pick it up again. So that's another thing I don't really like to read about. And then the last question is to tag 4 people. And so I'm going to tag Science Mama, Angie at Science Mama, Tia from Tia and All the Books, Tara at Buzzwords Books, and Christy Lewis at, sorry, I'm looking down because I have these channels written down, Dotievsky in space, I think is how you pronounce her channel name. So anyway, those are the 4 people that I would like to tag to do this tag. I hope that they do it, and thank you for watching. If you have read any of the books I talked about, as always, I love to hear your opinions on all of them. And yeah, other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this. Have a happy leap year and make good use of that extra day you get this year. And yeah, Other than that, I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.